Hey y'all, what's going on? I hope you guys are having a great day so far. I am real comfortable today. So earlier this morning, I alluded to the fact that I wanted to speak about, some of the I called it the ugly sides of us. But really what I'm trying to talk about are the things that we do not really admire that much about ourselves. But even in having that awareness, it creates an opportunity for us to work on those things where we can become the best versions of ourselves. So yesterday I spoke a lot about the idea of understanding why we're here and the interactions that we have with each other. It isn't always about what am I getting out of it, but also what am I bringing to the table. In other words, when we're interacting with people, sometimes the purpose behind us having that connection or having that experience with people is to give something to them rather than to receive. And so a lot of times when we try to process everything, we're always trying to figure out how is this affecting me? But what I was trying to communicate in that video is that it isn't always about you, but a lot of times about what you have as gifts that you can give to others to help them improve their life. And so I did dip into a little bit about the fact that there are parts of ourselves that we do not like or that we can consider as faults. And really, part of this existence, there's so much work that we need to do as people, but ultimately it is for the greater good. That's how I focus my life is, even when I'm examining the parts of me that aren't really that attractive, that may actually rub people the wrong way. There's an opportunity there for me to work on that so I can continue to present the best side of myself. It's not to say that I'm hiding, though people tend to do that. But you can tell when someone is hiding versus someone who is just trying to be the best version of themselves. When someone's hiding, what they're trying to do is finesse you, and you can feel the finesse. It may not be through their words, but maybe through their actions or the way that they want to have you see them, in a particular light. You can tell based on the fact that they're, kind of overcompensating in a particular area. So for instance, if someone wants to, let's say, portray that they're a kind person, but listen, energy don't lie. Because I could really just sum this up in that one sentence. Energy don't lie. But sometimes you can see people kind of overcompensating, kind of like doing the most. And it really isn't for your benefit, but for theirs. I want you to see me as a great person, as a nice person, as a kind person. So I'm going to do all this extra stuff, go beyond and above the call of duty, because in doing that, my hope is that you look at me and say, oh man, when I think of you, I think all this positive stuff. Whereas you can have people who are just naturally that way. They have that disposition simply because they love themselves, and you can see that self-love being radiated from them. So it all has to do with the energy. And as I alluded to yesterday, what I was saying is that a lot of times what happens with most people is that they know they have these negative aspects about themselves. And when it is called out, when it is exposed, and I said by using the word expose, meaning we shine a light on it, instead of them taking opportunity to say, you know what, that is me, or, that's something about me that I'm not really happy about, or I don't like about myself. And because people are bringing that up so often, or someone has brought it to my attention, let's take this as an opportunity to learn and grow and kind of keep that part of me dormant, or, try to transmute that into something positive. Instead of us having this conversation with ourselves, we immediately go on the attack. And we go on the attack for the purposes of self-preservation. No one likes to hear their laundry list of bad things about them, me included. However, it is an opportunity, even if the delivery was poor, there's an opportunity here to really do some self-reflection and say, you know what, they called me out on that. And I'll give you this much, because I know this is true for me, thereby I feel like it's true for everyone. If you want to lie to yourself, go ahead. That's not my problem. But whenever I feel like offended, or someone brings something to my attention that upsets me, I have to. This is just me. I ain't speaking for y'all. I'm speaking for me, and maybe you can take something away from that. But for me, I have to question myself. Why did this upset me? Why did I feel affected by what someone said? Is it a falsehood? Or is there a little bit of truth in there that kind of hit home? It struck a nerve. And maybe this is something that I have to evaluate for myself. Because like I said yesterday, we all have faults. We all have things about us that are not cute. And by that, we have opportunities to work on those things. Now, whether you want to sweep it under the rug, whether you want to wear a mask and pretend that, these things don't exist, it's all an illusion to you, whether you want to project onto other people the things that, they're addressing and say, oh, maybe it's you that's feeling like this. I've had that a lot said to me. And again, choices. We have these choices that we can make. And, like I'm trying to communicate here and now, we have options either to address these things and find ways in which we can improve, transmute, whatever the word it is that you want to use, but take that negative and turn it into a positive. Or we can continue down the road that we keep going, where we try to say, oh, that ain't me, or that must be you and you must be projecting, or sweep it under the rug, or completely cut people off, because I've seen people do that too, where you bring up just one small aspect that isn't that cute, and you amplify it to, oh, this is what this person thinks of me. Well, I'm going to cut them off. Okay. Let me know how that's working for you, because to me, that's a very, very lonely road. So let's, kind of wrap this up, because I don't want to spend the same amount of time that I spent explaining some of the ideas that I shared yesterday. We have an opportunity. We have options. Every decision that we make, there's a consequence behind that decision, whether positive or negative. And it really is up to us, as we move forward day to day. Do we want to be the best versions of ourselves? Are we willing to look within ourselves to say, okay, if somebody or if people keep bringing up a particular aspect about me, maybe this is worth investigating. And then try to work through that pain, work through that trauma, work through that wound, because trust and believe the root or the source of all the bad things, that we have within us is stemmed from somewhere. And a lot of it, as I've said in many times before in many different videos, stems from our childhood, stems from, an experience that we had early in life. And so we carry that with us. We rehearse it in our head over and over and over. Sometimes we even amplify it to such a point where the original story no longer exists, and we have this narrative that we've created for ourselves. And so with that, it really is up to us to decide, like, how are we going to proceed moving forward? Are we going to work on this? Are we going to, go find the help, professionally, if, that's the necessary thing? Are we going to read our Bible? Are we going to read books that are going to help us progress and work through this thing? Or are we going to continue to just sweep it under the rug, feel like everybody is wrong and I'm right? And have that attitude. And like I said, you're going to have that attitude. It's going to be a lonely road that you're traveling, because you're going to push people away who want to love you, who want to care for you, who want to support you and uplift you. But because you can't get over your own self, you push these people away. So with that, take this for what it's worth. Examine some of the things that may not be so pretty about yourself. I do this all the time. I'm very particular with my interactions with people. I try to come with the best version of myself. Like I said, we're not perfect, so I may not always get it right all the time, but I try to take the lesson even out of that imperfection to see, how can I better myself? How can I grow and evolve and elevate my consciousness to a place where, I am not mean-spirited. I am not saying anything negative. I'm not trying to cut anyone down. I'm just trying to be the best version of who I can be and speak the truth according to how I see it. And even in that is a whole other conversation. But the point being is that you're trying to be as positive as possible, and, keeping in mind that what I'm about to say or what I'm about to do, is this going to be helpful or detrimental to the people involved? So that's a question I ask myself all the time. And how you take it is how you take it. But at the end of the day, because I do this self-reflection, I sleep better at night knowing that I'm being my authentic self and I'm coming with a sense of love. When you're lacking love, then that's a whole other story altogether. But my approach is always to come with love. And you may not receive it lovingly, or maybe my delivery for you, you can interpret that as not loving. However, that's always my intention. So with that, I'm going to cut this off right here. We're already 12 minutes. I can't believe we're 12 minutes. All right. So you guys have a great day. Like I said, take it for what it's worth. Do some self-reflection. Trust me, I've been doing this for like 15, 20 years. You do some self-reflection, it's going to do you some good in the long term. Stop looking for immediate gratification and thinking like, okay, I'm going to think this way and then nothing's going to happen, in a sense of I'm not going to have any other problems, or I'm not going to have any encounters that are going to be negative. No, it's a process. Enjoy the process. All right. Because once you start to reflect, you start to look back from where you were and where you are now, you'll notice that you have grown tremendously. Take pride in that. Find satisfaction in that. Right. And continue to go forward. All right, you guys take care. Have a great one. Peace.